just taken over the country, and for that matter, maybe the world, and how she's encouraged so many young girls now to participate in sports, whether it's basketball or soccer.
When Wayne Gretzky, the great one, the undisputed GOAT of hockey, and a man who holds more NHL records than some franchises have victories, speaks about another athlete, the entire sports world takes notice. And his recent comments about Caitlin Clark are sure to leave WNBA executives either cheering or scrambling, depending on whether they've truly been watching what's unfolding before their eyes.
Will go down as the best WNBA player ever. Yes, the best woman to touch a basketball.
Wayne Gretzky just gave Caitlin Clark what may be the most powerful endorsement of her career, and make no mistake, this wasn't a casual compliment or routine sports chatter. This was Gretzky, the ultimate icon, recognizing in Clark a kindred spirit, someone redefining the game before our eyes. Look at Caitlin Clark and how she's taken over the country, maybe even the world, he said, with the unmistakable conviction of someone who's lived a sports revolution himself. He praised not just her talent, but the ripple effect she's creating, how she's inspiring a new generation of young girls to pick up a basketball, a soccer ball, or a volleyball and believe they belong.
I used to always say the greatest thing about sports is that you learn so much about real life. You learn how to be unselfish. You learn how to be dedicated. You learn how to work hard. You learn how to win. And then you learn how to pick yourself up off the ground when you lose. And that's what life is all about. And so I just have so much respect for so many of these athletes that come along now. And as a fan, I just love it.
Think about what Gretzky just did. He didn't simply compliment Caitlin Clark, he crowned her. This wasn't mere praise. It was the greatest hockey player of all time, an icon with 894 goals and an astonishing 1,963 assists, acknowledging her as a cultural force. When someone of Gretzky's stature says an athlete has taken over the country, maybe even the world, it transcends sports commentary. It becomes a moment of royalty recognizing royalty, an all-time great passing the torch to a generational game changer.
Finally have their star. They finally have somebody that is going to drive viewership and drive excitement about the league. Arenas are actually starting to fill up more than 20%. And if Caitlin Clark is playing, they're selling.
But here's where things get really spicy. Gretzky's glowing endorsement came at the exact moment the WNBA was being forced to reckon with a harsh new reality, life without its transcendent star. While the Great One was busy singing Clark's praises, the league was getting a sobering reminder of just how heavily it leans on her presence. The numbers don't lie, and they're damning for anyone still clinging to the illusion that Caitlin Clark isn't single-handedly propping up the league. When news broke that she'd be sidelined for at least 2 weeks with a left quadriceps strain, the WNBA didn't just lose a rookie. They lost their driving force, their headline act, their entire economic engine.
Man, Caitlin Clark not playing brings down ticket prices in the WNBA. So apparently the price to get into the Fever versus Sky game on June 7th was originally $86 because Caitlin Clark was playing, right? Just 48 hours ago it was $86. And now it's $25 because she's not playing. This alone silences that Caitlin Clark isn't the only reason why people watch the WNBA. Clearly she's moving the needle. Because if people were coming to watch Miss Reese like she said they were, these ticket prices would not have.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe, because what's happening with the Indiana Fever is a story you don't want to miss. Let's talk about what went down. Without their superstar, the Fever headed to Washington to take on the Mystics in what was supposed to be must-see TV. Instead, we got a sobering dose of reality. Indiana fell 83-77, slipping to 2-3 on the season. But the score wasn't the headline. The real story played out in the stands and on TV screens across the country, where the absence of Caitlin Clark was felt loud and clear.
There is no other playmaker better than Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, and I don't know if there ever has been. And that is great, but that also kind of sucks if you're the team that is missing her. So this to me looked like a scrimmage game that a new team coming together without their star playmaker was learning how to get to know each other and how to play with each other from scratch.
Ticket prices for that Mystics game. They nosedived, dropping a staggering 47% the moment Caitlin Clark's injury was announced. Let that sink in. Nearly half the ticket value vanished simply because one player wasn't in uniform. This was a game that had been moved to a larger venue just to capitalize on the Clark effect, And without her, it became just another WNBA matchup that casual fans could easily ignore. But the real gut punch came from the TV ratings. When Clark played the Atlanta Dream on NBA TV just 8 days earlier, the broadcast pulled in 581,000 viewers. Without her, the Fever Mystics game drew just 357,000. That's a brutal 38% drop, and you can bet WNBA executives are waking up in cold sweats, realizing how much the league's momentum is tethered to one rookie phenom.
As previously noted, there is simply no substitute for having Clark actually in the lineup. The Fever's previous NBA TV game against Atlanta averaged 581,000. In addition, Clark's final game before injury gave you 2.2 million on CBS. Folks, give it up a round of applause. 300,000 viewers. 357,000 viewers on NBA TV.
But wait, it gets worse. Much worse. The WNBA's broader ratings without Caitlin Clark aren't just slipping. They're in freefall. While Clark's games continue to shatter records, regularly pulling in over 2 million viewers, everything else has cratered faster than a stock market crash. The numbers are staggering. Games featuring Clark this season have averaged 1.178 million viewers. Games without her? Just 394,000. That's not just a drop-off. It's a 199% difference so massive you could drive a freight train through it. Put simply, even the most mathematically challenged exec can grasp this reality. When Caitlin Clark plays, the audience triples. When she doesn't, so does the league's problem.
NBA is pretty much at a standstill with Caitlin Clark not being able to play. I mean, rubber is about to meet the road. I mean, everything they said last year is going to be unproven like no other, bro. They stated the league was on this trajectory to success many, many moons before Caitlin Clark got there. And hell, Caitlin Clark wasn't the only rookie to be the reason why the viewership was up. You had rookies like Endorses, Cameron Brink, and many others. Well, I'm here to tell you, that is just not the truth, bro. The WNBA is in a crucial moment right now, and a lot of people are scratching their heads and wondering, why would they lie to the people, having everybody think that Caitlin Clark was not the only reason this league was going in this upward trajectory.
Week 1 hinted at promise beyond Caitlin Clark. Paige Bucher's debut drew 639,000 viewers. The Golden State Valkyries pulled 581,000. For a moment, it looked like the WNBA might finally be riding a rising tide. Then came Week 2, and reality hit hard. Ratings didn't just dip, they collapsed. Games that should have built on early momentum instead drew 431,000 and 344,000 viewers, both below last year's average of 505,000. The league didn't turn a corner. It slammed into a wall. And here's the frustrating part. While Wayne Gretzky praises Clark, and the numbers proved she's the most valuable asset in women's sports, some within the league seem more focused on tearing her down than lifting the sport up.
Does Caitlin Clark have these unrealistic expectations, but Paige Buchers and these other players don't? And it makes no sense to me. So that is hate, because that's called moving the goalposts. So she has to win the championship in her first year to be considered.
Caitlin Clark has been targeted hard all season. Flagrant fouls, reckless hits, and the WNBA acts like it's just part of the game. Video shows her playing through pain, and even her coach didn't know when she got injured because it's so normal now. The worst part? The players trying to hurt her are making more money thanks to her. Clark's rise has lifted the whole league, bringing new fans, TV money, and attention to a league that needed it.
So as you guys can see here, that's a major hit on Caitlin Clark on the ground. We all remember that last year, man. Dominic Shields, she up out of there, though. Kennedy Carter, another one, up out of there, though. DJ Currington eye poke situation. This is just a brutal beating this young lady has been taking for a year now, man. And for the W to allow this to happen time after time again. And we see players like Breanna Stewart being able to draw 16 damn fouls, and the game ain't even facilitated through her. She's not even on the ball, bro. Like, it's getting out.
We got to remember, they lost $40 million still last year. All right? They're getting a new media rights deal. That thing won't be worth shit if Caitlin Clark was to either get really injured and couldn't play, or decided to just say, I'm not going to play here anymore, I'm going overseas. Where, by the way, they would pay her, my God, some of those countries might pay her $20 million a year to come over there and play. And I'm not kidding.
Caitlin Clark could be projected to be $1 billion revenue maker for the WNBA this year. Now, obviously, the WNBA won't see that money, won't see most of that money, and it's not just in the WNBA, but it's all of her sponsorships, it's all of her appearances, it's all that stuff. But according to the projections, we're looking at $875 million could easily eclipse $1 billion on her economic impact. Caitlin Clark entering the league last year was responsible for 26.5% of all of their economic activity. So revenue from merchandise, which again, with the CBA as it is currently, she doesn't see a dime of any of that. TV, and then ticket sales, obviously, which again, they don't